Yes. Hi, everyone. Good
Morning.
morning. Going live on YouTube like usual. Oh, I have it. I have it.
Perfect, because I'm looking going,
I
not
believe,
seeing it.
yeah, I think it was just something that I based off of live that you did in the past. That's what it
Perfect.
was.
Awesome.
Sorry, I forgot about it as well.
Yep,
So,
that happens.
hi everyone. Good morning. I am gonna turn on the chat for you guys because I think we have a smaller group today, which is totally fine. And then you guys should be able to just put your stuff in the chat. It is currently 9 a.m. in Minnesota. It's getting colder. And like I've been telling you guys each webinar, be prepared for the winter. Sarah and I were also talking about the weather coming up. So, Sarah, would you like to do a quick introduction?
Absolutely. Good morning, good evening, and good night, which I suppose I forgot. Good afternoon. Hello, all. My name is Sarah Gramberg Rademacher. I serve as the Director of University Advising here at Minnesota State Mankato. We are super excited that you're here with us today, and even more excited that you'll be joining us hopefully in January. But as PJ mentioned, in Minnesota, the cold is harsh for even those of us who grew up around here. So when we say be prepared, I'm not exactly sure what we mean other than if you can ahead of time purchase and pack warm clothes, great. If you can't, there will be lots of options around here when you get here. But it Minnesota is known for being super cold. Just out of curiosity, those of you who are here, would you mind dropping in the chat your first name and where you're coming to us from today?
Um,
Hopefully, I'm going to try this. Can you hear me? Would you mind? Okay, I see something coming in the Q&A. Is the
uh,
chat unlocked? Is that what I think?
hi, Sayon. Welcome in. I'm gonna double check really quickly. It should be. Can you try one more time? Welcome back, by the way.
Hmm. Oh, there it is. Cyan, you showed up in the chat to host some panelists. Cyan, where are you from? From Turkey. Excellent. And Paul, you're coming into us from Kenya. And Aticha, I apologize if I said your name wrong, Aticha, but where are you coming to us from? Maybe there's another. Oh, yes, we can hear you. Good, I'm glad. Oh, from Nepal. Wonderful.
Yay!
I would ask you all what time it is where you're at, but that's going to just make me worry for you because it's probably going to be really late later. Wait, well, I don't know exactly, so I won't guess. So awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. Usually I get invited to do these things to help walk students through what they can expect when they get here in terms of getting registered for classes. And so, PJ, I don't know if you were able to bring up the PowerPoint or if I'm just missing
Yes.
it. Oh, and it looks like Lynette just joined us. And again, I apologize if I'm saying your names wrong. I hate not being able to just hear, but this is a webinar. So,
Yeah.
Lynette, if you can tell us where you're from and yeah, just I guess where you're from. It's not going to let me just type to them. So, oh, perfect. Hi. Oh, from Kenya as well. Excellent. So I've got a couple of you from Kenya today. someone from Turkey, and someone from Nepal. So excellent.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for Sarah for doing this for us. This is going to be a pretty important session, a very important session. So let us know. We'll leave questions towards the end. So I will just share my screen and kind of let Sarah take it away.
Sounds good. Excellent. So we are just trying to get you ready by talking you through how some of the things are going to work when you get here. And so talking specifically about one of the most important things that we hear from our international students, as well as all our students really, is the importance of when you're going to get registered for classes. So that's mostly the focus on this particular webinar. Before you get here, there's a few essential things that we need for you. If you are not a transfer student, if you're not planning on bringing in any credits with you, you're good to go. Don't worry about anything else here. However, if you have college and university transfer work from outside the US, we really, really, really want to get those transcripts evaluated ahead of time whenever possible. What that does is it saves you time and money because they've been evaluated, and so we know what you're already bringing in with you. So if you have transfer work from outside the US, please work with PJ and the other Kearney International Center folks to have those credits evaluated through ECE. Please know that Kearney has worked hard to with ECE to have a specific process for you that will actually cost less than what you would do for a full evaluation, but it's because this evaluation is specific to Minnesota State Mankato. So when you go through and you have this ECE done, that will be viable for Minnesota State Mankato. It will not be something that necessarily follows you to other institutions should you decide to go elsewhere. In addition to the evaluation that will happen through ECE, when you get here, particularly if you're a transfer student, your faculty is going to have to look at this information as well and help make decisions about what credits you're already going to get credit for, and how that's going to work. Okay, Lynette said they did the WES earlier this year. My sense is, PJ, that WES works as well. It's not specific to MSU, so you probably paid a little bit more, and that's okay. But the WES evaluation will help us figure out how your credits will count, so that should be fine as well. But holding on to copies of your unofficial transcripts and your course syllabi and having those with you here will help a great deal. So please make sure that you have those things if you are transferring credits from outside the US. If you want to know more about the program that you are studying, what the program you are coming here for, one of the things you can do as soon as today, or really any day, is go to the MSU homepage. We are www.mnsu.edu, and type in that you're looking for the catalog. The catalog provides an inventory of all of our academic programs, and it goes into the real weeds of what are the classes in those programs, what are the prerequisites in those programs, what are those classes about? It's a great opportunity to kind of get to know a little bit more about the program. There's a perfect example. Thank you, PJ, where you can look up the specifics on your program and get to know it a little bit better. We oftentimes work with students like you who are like, I'm chomping at the bit, ready to go get registered and take care of all this. Bear with us. We will help you with that once you get here. That's why you do all the transfer work evaluation ahead of time, bring your course syllabi and things like that. But one of the things you can do is take a closer look at the program that you're looking at studying by going into the catalog and taking a closer look at that. So that's one way you can help prepare yourself so that when you get here, you have a little bit more understanding of what's going to be involved in your major. So that's a nice touch as well. So what happens when you get here is you will check in with the Kearney International Center, and they will give you an itinerary of what's going to happen during the International Orientation Week. One of the first things that you're going to encounter is math and English placement tests. So if you've taken math and English at another school, that's where that transfer evaluation really comes in handy because it helps us understand what you're already bringing in. However, you may still be encouraged to take the math and English placement test, depending on what you're bringing in and depending on what your major is. Some of our majors have a very specific math class associated with them. Others of them don't really care. What we find is a lot of the times the majors that our international students are going into do have a particular math class. And so we want to see your math readiness, and seeing any transfer work you have helps us with that. But also by taking the placement test, we get an idea of where you're at. Placement tests are not something you should spend a lot of time preparing for because we're trying to just capture what your skill set is as best we can. And so you'll hear from that right when you check in. It won't be long after that when you get to hear about the placement test. Bear with us. We know it's tough to do it right away, but we want to get it done soon after you get here, soonish after you get here, so that we have the best information to move forward with. During orientation, you'll also talk with your academic advising team based on your major. That team will be working with you to get you look at your records to see what you might already be getting credit for, and to also look at what you plan on studying and what will be best for you. It is not uncommon for students to talk to each other about, hey, this was a good class for me. Hey, don't worry about that one. Take this one first. I want to caution you all about that. We know your friends, your loved ones have good intentions, but they don't live and breathe and just make their living off of the academic catalog and the MSU academic requirements. So while your friends know things, they know things specifically based on their situation. They may not know changes that happen to the academic program that maybe they studied too. They have the same major, but the changes that have happened since they started may make a big difference. They don't know what your strengths and talents are. And so when they say, hey, this class was really easy, it may have been really easy for them, but it may not be really easy for you. So please make sure that during orientation, we're going to have you talking with academic advisors, with professionals who know the academic catalog and more at the university, and who have a really big investment in your success. We all want to see you succeed here. And so we will be doing our best to provide you with recommendations specific to your situation. So please, when you're at orientation and we're coming together and those days get a little bit busy, a little bit hectic, listen to the academic advisors in your registration rooms. They will be a huge asset to you. And then after orientation, we want you to continue meeting with academic advisors. You're going to meet some folks initially. Oftentimes, you're going to be assigned to that academic advising team for your first semesters here at Minnesota State Mankato, unless you're bringing in transfer work, in which case you may be assigned to a faculty member sooner versus later. However, those college advising offices are still there to help you out along the way. They may not go through the particulars of your major, but they will help you out. So please make sure that you are taking advantage of them. Get to know them right away at orientation. We're expecting a smaller group of international students this spring. Spring is always smaller for us. So you should have a time to get a little connected with them and then come back and use their expertise along your whole journey here at Minnesota State. And this, I think, is when I usually turn things over to you, PJ, to kind of go through some of the particulars of the orientation program.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Sarah. So yeah, spring orientation is coming up. So orientation dates Monday, January 5th through Friday, January 9th. You're going to want to arrive on or before January 4th. If you are living in the dorms and you would like to move in early, they will be opening early arrival request forms that needs to be approved before you can move into the dorms early. The first day to enter the US is December 6th, 2025. So once you have your visa and you're looking for your flights, just make sure you're booking around on this date or after this date, because you're only allowed to enter the US 30 days prior to your program start date. So we just want to make sure, you're kind of booking flights accordingly. We are very excited to meet you. Spring is usually a bit colder, and so you might feel that initial shock once you get here. And so just make sure you've packed a good thick jacket, winter jacket, beanie, a beanie at least, gloves to cover your fingers, And we'll talk more about it during orientation, but we want you to be warm while you come to orientation. So just make sure you're prepared. You don't have to put it on as like, on your travel, but once you get to Minnesota, you're likely going to want to put at least your jacket on before you get on your transportation to Mankato. Um, a few of our upcoming webinars, of course, we had our registration one today. We're going to have another registration webinar November 10th at 1 p.m. Another session on what to do if your visa is denied. So if you're kind of waiting for your appointment, or if you unfortunately had your visa denied, we'll talk more about what steps to take. And travel to Mankato is going to be another very important session because we'll tell you what transportation services to take, what like arriving at Mankato looks like, and give you some tips and tricks about Customs and Border Patrol, what to expect when you come to the port of entry, things like that. We're also going to be doing a couple Instagram lives. So if you don't follow us on Instagram yet, please do. We will be going live November 13th and December 8th. And these are going to be very informal sessions. So we rely very heavily on you and your questions that come up for these sessions. And there's more information on your KIC portal as well. We do have a couple more webinars after the November 24th one. So I would just make sure you check your email and also the KIC portal. This is what it looks like. Feel free to download. All of these are clickable links, so you can just click and register for the ones that you're interested in. I'm gonna stop sharing for now. Okay. Just going to open the floor for a little bit for any questions you might have. Okay, okay, I do see a comment from someone on YouTube who says to share the Zoom link. But you're watching us on YouTube, so it should still be the same session. But if you have any questions, just leave it there. And for anyone that's watching on Zoom, if you guys have any questions, please let us know now. Sarah and I were kind of talking about, the weather getting colder. I saw on the weather forecast that it might snow on Saturday, so not looking forward to it. Do you have any tips for the students coming in the spring, Sarah?
Well, so I had an exchange daughter from Thailand once, and she was at a stage where she didn't believe in a heavy coat. She got a super thick sweatshirt that she liked to wear as much as possible. However, I think she would have agreed with me by the end of her stay that a heavy cat coat is actually very helpful, as well as PJ's talking about having a beanie, having gloves. Um, the last couple winters in Minnesota have been mild, but mild by our standards is oftentimes still a huge surprise to our international guests, particularly when I'm looking at where you all are from. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna feel cold. So I told PJ earlier today, I have taken to holding on to certain things that I like to do and waiting until winter for them. And starting to do them and really holding on like the books I want to read, the TV series that people tell me about. So I can do more of that when it's winter and make it feel a little bit more special. PJ, we got a great question in the chat. How low did the temperatures drop usually? I'm going to assume that most of you use the Celsius scale, and my Celsius knowledge is not as sharp as I'd like it to be.
I can quickly do a conversion.
Yeah, what do you think? I think the lowest temperatures we've ever had, Sehan, is and I'm terrified of how this will come up in Celsius. When it gets really cold, and usually January, February, and if the wind is really bad, the worst it's been is -30, -40 Fahrenheit. So let's see what that says, PJ. I'm scared. But that's the worst.
So that's like about -34 Celsius, but that's usually the worst. Also remember that apartments and houses, wherever you choose to stay, are
Yes.
heated. So indoors is going to be nice and warm. So what I feel like you should also remember is you wear like a thinner shirt underneath, like just
Mhm.
like a thin sweater, and then you have a thick jacket on top. Because when you get to your classes or when you're at home, it's going to be really hot because the temps are on. Um,
Yep.
Yeah, so it's usually when you're outside that you really feel the cold. When you're indoors, you don't really feel it at all,
No.
um, because they turn up the heat so high. I get hot indoors.
Well, and actually, if you, sometimes people think of living upstairs in an apartment building or in the dorms is not great because they think, oh, all those stairs. But come winter, you're going to be nice and toasty, and that can be an advantage of being up there.
You're
But yeah,
absolutely right.
no, PG is absolutely right. While it's cold outside, we don't spend much time outside when it's like, particularly when it's super cold. And when it's in the, you know, 30s and 40s, which are probably around 0 to 10 Celsius, it's not terrible out. It's actually feels really quite nice, and that's when people like to go out and do winter activities. And people like to do winter activities even when it's colder. And so there are options out here if you're an outdoors person and you haven't been used to the winter. There's still plenty of things to do. I just tend to think I like gardening. I love being outside. Winter's not my time, but that's for me. So we'll see what you guys think because maybe you'll feel differently.
Yeah, for sure. And also, oh, I was gonna say something, but I lost my train of thought. It was something to do with winter for sure. Also, like, yeah, I remember now. Most of the buildings on campus are connected. So
Mhm.
you're necessarily like when you go in between classes. So in the US, how classes usually work is you have classes sometimes in completely different buildings, depending on what classes you're registered for. When I was growing up in Nepal, like you would be in the same class from 8 a.m. until 3. So you don't really move. But here, usually you'll be moving between classes. And I know that's a worry for some students in the wintertime because you're like, oh my God, I have to walk outside. Almost all of the buildings on campus are connected either through a skyway or an underground tunnel. So you most likely won't even need to go out, depending on where your classes are. So just so you guys are aware as well.
And that's where you really want to use your friends and the people that you know because they probably know their own best way to get around campus. We'll help you with that initially, but then you'll figure out your own path that you like best. And so stay tuned because people have had a lot more creative solutions to getting around campus than I was aware of. And I've learned from my colleagues, and I've been here for more than 20 years. So that says something, right? So,
Yes, and we also during orientation usually do a campus tour. So one that is completely indoors, especially in the springtime, we'll definitely do that for you. So during orientation, just keep an eye out on when we're hosting those tours. So we'll have our students take you around campus and kind of show you where all of our underground tunnels are. It might initially be a little confusing because I get a little confused as well sometimes. So I completely agree with Sarah. Sometimes someone will say like, "Oh, you can just go through here," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was a possibility." But thank you for cutting my time in half. Um, so
and sometimes the tunnels add time because you're taking a longer way, and that's not bad. Yeah, you'll have to decide, right? What's more important, getting there right away or staying warm?
yeah,
Sehan, you asked a good question. Sorry, we went off on a tangent because there's a lot of stuff related to that we think about. So, other questions or thoughts that you're having?
yeah, we'll leave it open for a couple more minutes, and if you guys don't have any questions, we'll just end the session early today. Um, I'm gonna check YouTube as well really quickly. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any questions on YouTube, which is fine. Um, okay,
The specific processes for registration. So, see, quite literally, what will happen is we will be looking at your math and English placement scores. Again, depending on whether or not you're a new student, a transfer student, et cetera, and depending on what your major is. So, advisors will look at that and they will make a determination based on that information of what math class and English class you need. We try to pre-register you for some of those credits just to make the registration process smoother. And those are typically the credits we'll pre-register you for. So what that means is we will sign you up for those classes before you even get to the registration session. That said, we also think it's really important that you know how to register for classes because this is the only time we're going to do this. And so we will have you register for some of your own class, some of the other classes. But what you can expect from us is we're going to give you a list of classes to sign up for or make recommendations to you. So it's not like you're going to have to be on your own figuring out the catalog and then going back and forth. So, and in terms of the finance program, I assume you mean, Sehan, my colleague Linda and Gail, as well as Ray and Raj, are the ones who work with the finance students, and they will have looked at your materials ahead of time to try to make recommendations for here's the best classes for you to start with. And so we're pretty explicit about that. Oh, sorry. You're talking about finances as in how you pay. PJ, you want to talk a little bit about that, and then Paul, I'll answer your question.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I understood the major as well. So in terms of payment, the biggest thing you need to remember is during orientation, you will have to pay your insurance. You must pay for insurance during orientation week before you register for classes. So typically that's before Wednesday. So we'll have our peer mentors, our students take you to where the cashier's office, have you pay that insurance amount before you're able to register for classes. So until you make that payment, there's going to be a hold on your account. So even if you are miraculously able to get into e-services and look at classes right now and you try to register, it's not going to let you register because you haven't paid for insurance and you're also not here for orientation yet. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. And then after that, the week after orientation is when you'll see the updated tuition amount that's going to be reflected on your e-services account. If you want to pay for your insurance now, by all means, you can absolutely do so on e-services. You can just use a credit card or debit card and get that paid. Otherwise, we always tell students to come to orientation with the appropriate amount to pay for insurance before you register for classes. And after that, it's going to reflect on your e-services. There's usually a deadline for tuition as well for the spring. I'm not 100% sure what the date is, so I'm not going to say it, but there's usually typically a deadline that you need to pay your tuition by before you register for classes in the fall. Typically, we also do have payment plan options that students can look into, but they also have very strict deadlines. And in order to also be in a payment plan, you have to also pay a $35 fee. So I hope that kind of makes sense, Ahan. I feel like I might have like kind of gone through that a little fast. So if you want me to like explain anything specific, I can. But yes, once you come here for orientation, you'll pay for your insurance, get that hold removed, and then register for classes.
Perfect.
Okay, awesome.
Well, Paul, going back to your question about getting assigned an academic advisor, we wait until you get here to do that. And oftentimes, this happens less so with international students that you all apply here with a certain major in mind that you have to then get approved, right? But for our domestic students, it's not uncommon for them to apply here with one major and then when they get here, change it. So we don't do any assigning of advisors in advance. We want to see you and talk with you and find out what you're doing. And then we will assign you to an academic advisor, either an advising team, and those will be the folks you're meeting that very first week, or if you're bringing in enough credits that we need to get you to a faculty member sooner versus later, we'll have you assigned to a faculty advisor right away. And the faculty advisors are those who have expertise in your specific area that you're studying. They can be changed though, if you change major or if you, let's say you have a faculty member or an advisor that you really like, person you really like teaching a class, you can request that they become your advisor if you have a good working relationship with them. And oftentimes we can do that. There's a few times we can't, but generally speaking, we try to make those requests happen whenever we can. So hopefully that answers your question, Paul.
For those that weren't in our previous pre-arrival webinars, if you do go to our YouTube account, I'm just going to add that in the chat, you can actually go to the live section on our channel and watch all of our previous webinars. So that's surrounding FISA prep sessions, tuition and fees. So I think for some of you that might be important to watch if you weren't in that session before, because we kind of break down what the process looks like, the deadlines and all of that. And then there's also a housing webinar and placement testing webinar that we did with Riley Davenport from the Placement Testing Center. So I would watch that as well if you have questions about that. All right. Okay. Doesn't look like you guys have any further questions. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us like always and helping out with these. I think this is very important. And we usually get a lot of questions about this. We have another registration webinar coming up as well. So if after we end this session, you're like, oh, I should have asked Sarah this question, you can always join us back and ask your questions. And we're really excited to meet you in the spring. If you have any questions, you guys have my WhatsApp number and you guys also have my email. So feel free to reach out anytime. Any last words, Sarah?
I just reiterate what you said, PJ, in that we are really, really excited to have you joining the Maverick community. Our Mav fam is what we call ourselves, the Maverick family. And we're super stoked that you're joining us in the spring semester. And don't let our talk of winter scare you off. It's just trying to set a low bar, so give you low expectations for how cold it'll be. And so that hopefully we can surpass them when you get here and you're like, oh, but it is beautiful. And it is kind of a magical experience, honestly. It's both. It drives me crazy, but no,
Yeah,
we're
we
really
have
happy that you're
all
joining us.
4 seasons. So
We do.
yeah, so we have winter, which is when you guys are going to be coming in, but then spring is going to roll around, and then summer is lovely, spring is lovely, fall is
Fall is my favorite
beautiful.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And realistically, for those of you who are used to really warm temperatures, summer's going to probably feel pretty amazing here.
Yeah,
Because
there's just so many opportunities to be outdoors, hikes, trails, like you name it. There's just so much to do in Minnesota. You can go fishing, you can, even in the winter, people go ice fishing. So there's something to do all year round. Sarah's like, nope,
not
not for
me.
me. Yeah, there's opportunities for so many things, especially for free for students. So keep an eye out. Follow us on Instagram. We post all of the events that we have going. We partner with Maverick Adventures on campus quite often, and that's when they do ice fishing as well. So depending on how you feel the first couple months, might be something you might want to do. It's going to be a really exciting experience. You might catch a fish.
Well, realistically, I guess I haven't tried ice fishing. I think I don't like it, but maybe I need to join one of those groups and try and do it once,
Right?
see what it's like.
I know last year we had to cancel it because our winter last year wasn't that terrible, if it helps you guys. But I'm hoping this year they have it so that because I really want to go ice fishing. I was gonna go last year and they had to cancel it, so I was like, darn it. So maybe this year.
It was too warm.
It was too warm.
That's
We didn't have
bizarre.
snow on Christmas.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't last year. No,
No.
very strange.
Yeah.
But
All
awesome.
right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Sarah.